Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Same Page. I am Lenard, and this is my lovely wife.
Sarah.
And today's topic, we're going to dive into like a misconception about Airbnb. And the misconception is that you need to own the property in order to do Airbnb. And one thing that we found out, and it's something that Sarah dove into before we really dove into real estate investing, is Airbnb arbitrage.
Yes.
So Sarah, how about you just describe that for our audience?
For our audience. Well, Airbnb arbitrage just means that you are renting a place from a landlord and you're putting that place on Airbnb. And you're letting the landlord know, full disclosure, that you are putting his unit, his apartment, his house or whatnot on Airbnb. The benefit to the landlord is that his property always has to be in tip-top shape, right? You're always gonna keep it clean. If there's any repairs to be done, that's always gonna be completed in a timely manner. Nothing is gonna go outstanding. So that's a benefit to him. And for you, obviously, you are going to pocket the difference between what the monthly rent is and what you're making, with Airbnb with the nightly rents, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, how long did you do this for? Because you kind of dove into this a couple of years back. And what has your experience been with Airbnb arbitrage?
So there are a few things that are really important for the unit to have. One of them is access to parking. I know a lot of guests, typically they drive to the city because they want to visit, so they want access to parking. Secondly is access to a laundry, to a washer and dryer without being shared. Because what happens is that if it's shared laundry, then your cleaner might come in and the laundry is being occupied and you can't wash the sheets. And there's only maybe a 2-hour for the turnover to get ready for the next guest. So you want to make sure that there's exclusive access to washer and dryer. Anything else? I'm just trying to think. What you need a really good cleaner, and a cleaner that has just eyes on the property. Like if anything's broken, if anything needs to be fixed right away, because you definitely can't always do the guest turnover yourself, and I would suggest that you don't, so that you can liberate your time to go find other apartments. So exactly. I don't think as the host you should be doing the cleaning and stuff like that. You should definitely more running as a business. Exactly.
And so one thing that Sarah was alluding to just now is that why this is a really good strategy is the fact that, well, for one, you don't own you don't own these units or these properties, so there's a lot of overhead costs that you don't have to deal with.
Yeah, and you don't need capital to start it off.
And that's the point I was just gonna say, is the fact that you can go ahead and start these things without any capital, and you can also book or make this agreement with several different landlords who own these units. So depending on what type of team that you develop. As far as your cleaner, and then anything having to do with administration, then you can sky's the limit as to how many units you can actually manage and run, and then all you do is just you get whatever the difference is every single month. And
right. So for example, if you're paying $1,000 a month in rent, and you're making $1,500 or $2,500 a month, then you're pocketing $1,500 a month as your profit. So it can be very profitable without necessarily having any money into these properties, and it's easy to start off.
Well, in that $1,500, it also includes some of the cleaning and coming and going. So there's other expenses involved as well on top of the rent.
Well, what I did is that I had included the cleaning in what the guests had to pay.
Okay.
So on Airbnb, there's the fee to stay per night, but there's also a cleaning fee. So you can include that. You can kind of push that cleaning fee onto the guest,
it's a good
so that you don't have that overhead. So it is definitely a great way of making money in real estate. And so all you need is good negotiation skills and a little bit of courage to go and talk to some landlords and propose that to them, and you'd be surprised how many will say yes.
One thing that I definitely want to point out that I believe Sarah has a really good skill at is setting up the decor for these rooms. And I think it's a very important skill because at the end of the day, you want people to choose your location as a possible destination. And having that skill set to lay out, the furniture and those small intricate pieces to make your ad more appealing goes a long way.
Mm-hmm. And I think you could also hire somebody to do that if you don't have that touch. So don't be afraid to put out some money up front just to make your unit look good. And if you don't have that skill, so you don't necessarily need to be, a jack of all trade. You just need to be able to focus on negotiating and acquiring these properties. And also there's apps that you can use to send out automatic messages to your guests and when they're checking in and things like that. So it is, if you have 10 of them, you may not have the time to physically run all of them every time there's somebody that books one of your units. So it's very important to automate this process so that there's automated messages that go out to your guests. And all you have to do is just make sure that everything's running smoothly.
All right, guys. Well, that's it for Airbnb arbitrage. Please share or comment whether or not you've used this strategy in the past. And until next time.
Thank you for watching.